Radio guys, welcome back to the Back to Me podcast. Another episode here for you. You know, Back to Me is about letting go of everything you're not so you can become everything you're destined to be, that you truly crave in your heart. Today we're going to talk about the hardest work on the road of becoming who you want to become. Okay, so what is the hardest work and some of the obstacles you face on getting to where you want to be? There's always this gap analysis we do, especially in the coaching world, about identifying where people are and where they want to be, where they want to go, and what's in the way of that or what's missing to help them get to that place. So we call it a gap analysis. And usually when I start with clients, that's always where I'm asking, like, where do you want to be? Where do you want to go? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to do? Where are you currently at now? And then what's in the way? What are the obstacles in the way, or what's missing? What's missing from you in terms of maybe mindset, skills, strategy to getting to that place. So the hardest work, and as you guys know, I work with a lot of different people, individuals in my group coaching programs, entrepreneurs, business owners in my one-to-one, in my business mentorship program, executives in my executive coaching program, and companies in corporate training. And I see the same obstacle for everybody, from all industries, all backgrounds, all countries, all ages, all stories. It's the same obstacle. It's the same avoidance behavior. And the avoidance is doing the work on you. Okay, the hardest work on the road to becoming who you want to become is the work on you. It's what everybody avoids. There's a couple of lies that we've all been told, and I talk about this in my events and my trainings. I've been talking a lot about it lately. We've been told a lot of lies. There's a lot of myths to be debunked. But one of the lies people fall into, one of the traps even people fall into, is working really hard on your job, but not working very hard on yourself. Okay, so working really hard on your job or working really hard on your business, but not working on yourself. Even from my business coaching, my corporate training, I always say my brand is like a Trojan horse. People see me as the guy to come in and multiply their income, multiply their revenue, grow their business, level up their skills, become better leaders, all of that. But the Trojan horse part is I come in with the awareness, and the self, and the clarity, and the truth, and the spirit of who you are, and the alignment. Because, you have to build a people, and people will build a business. Everyone thinks I can just build a business. Everybody wants to create systems and find hacks and give me the script and give me the technique and the skill. But it's you that's the work, okay? It's your mindset, your ability, your performance, your feelings, your emotions, your mentality, your effort. All of those things, everything comes back to you. And that's why, Back to Me is such a perfect name for the podcast, for my coaching program, for my book, because everything comes back to me, or in this case, back to you. So I want to talk a little bit about you becoming who you want to become, because I see it time and time again. To realize coaching is growing so fast is because more and more people are waking up to know that they want more, and that they're either missing something or something's in the way of becoming or blocking them becoming more and having more. So this is the first step. If you're someone who's looking, it's a new year, you're all excited in January and or at the beginning of the year, and now you're thinking, oh, I'm back into last year again. I'm back into old habits again. I'm back into old patterns again. One of the main reasons is because you're avoiding the work on you. You keep thinking you have to work on your job. You keep thinking you have to work on your relationship. You keep thinking you have to work on all these external things instead of working on yourself, instead of looking in the mirror, instead of reflecting on who you are, how you perform, what you do on a daily basis. What level of being are you at? Are you becoming the best version you what level have you become already? Okay, where have you gotten to up until this point? Where have you gotten yourself to in terms of your mindset, your attitude, your philosophies, your skills, your strategies, your ability? Like, how far have you come? Where do you need to go? Maybe you feel you haven't come far at all. Maybe you feel like you've done no work on yourself. Maybe you think, some of you are thinking, I'm lucky to get to where I've gotten to. Some of you are thinking, it just worked out in my favor. Or, I put in minimal effort. Or some of you are thinking I put in maximum effort, but I did it blindly. I didn't really have the skills or the strategies I could have. Like, I don't even know how I got here. But if you stay where you are long enough, you're just going to come a time where you're going to recognize you need to go further. You want to go further. You want to go higher. You want to move faster. Because we as humans are meant to grow. We are meant to progress. We are happiest, most fulfilled when we are progressing. I think, and I've said it on this podcast before, I think we are more fulfilled in the pursuit of something than in the achievement. Achievement's phenomenal. And of course, the result is the ultimate outcome. However, we find fulfillment, we find peace in our day to day when we're taking action, when we're progressing, when we're making progress, when we're, if it's like you're sculpting and you're starting to see the shape of what you want and who you want to become. So I really want I want to bring your attention back to you. I want to bring your attention back to what you're doing. I want you to take responsibility today. I want you to take inventory of where are you, what do you want? Like, are you satisfied? And if you say, yeah, I'm satisfied, get out ahead of it, get in front of it by realizing you're not going to stay satisfied because you're going to want to do more. You're going to want to go further. It doesn't matter you arrive in paradise today. There's going to come a time where it's not going to be paradise anymore because that's just the way we're designed. Look at the world around us, constantly innovating, progressing, technology, everything around us, just faster, better ways of doing things. So much so now that we have less patience in our lives because back in the day, we had patience for internet. Now we have zero. Like when your Wi-Fi is not working or when the Wi-Fi gets slow and something's not loading, if you're like me, you're like, oh my God, what's taking so long? And it's only been about 11 seconds. Okay, so we are becoming impatient because we're always progressing. Everything's getting better, faster, stronger. And it's up to us to do that in our own personal lives as well. You want your relationship to improve? It's up to you. You want your job to improve? It's up to you. You want your health and fitness? It's up to you. It always has to come back to you. It always has to come back to you. So if you're not satisfied, it's time to get clear and realize the reason you're in inertia, the reason why you're feeling stuck, the reason why things are slowing down and it feels like a struggle is because you're not working on you, okay? You're focused on the wrong things. And write this down, it's a great question. Where am I placing importance right now? Where am I placing importance? Because there's a good chance it's not on the right things. Maybe it's on commentary instead of creativity. And if that's the case, I'd encourage you to watch my video on creativity versus commentary. It's on my YouTube channel, okay, on Aidan O'Brien. So take inventory of that. What areas of yourself should you focus on specifically? Well, number one is your mindset. You have to look at your mindset. And there's a couple of things around that. And the mindset's 80%, 75, 80% of your success. And all pieces included in that are your beliefs, your self-image, your identity, but your level of awareness of you and of the world around you. Most people lack awareness. Most people don't succeed fast enough. They don't get the sale. They don't get the relationship. They don't make the progress because they lack awareness. Because without the awareness, you can't identify what needs to be done. You can't, first of all, recognize it, but number two, you can't label it. And if you can't label it effectively, you don't know what's needed to overcome it or to work around it or to work through it. So that's one of the things, even about emotional intelligence, when we do communication training and mentoring, is emotional intelligence. You got to be able to identify the emotion that the person is feeling or what they're going through, but then you have to be able to label it correctly. Because if you don't label it correctly, you can really offend someone, or you break rapport, or you create a disconnect. So the mindset's the most important thing, guys, for everything. Because before actions come feelings, and before feelings come your thoughts. Like oftentimes you feel fine until you think of something, and you start thinking about it, then your emotions change, you feel terrible. So this is the number one work you have to do. And this is the work most people avoid. This is the work people avoid because it's easier to work in the job and blame the job. It's easier to blame the other person in the relationship. It's easier to blame genetics for you being out of shape or your injury. I've had an injury for 2 years. I've still done things like I've done a high rocks. I shouldn't have done it probably, but I did it. So I overcame the thoughts and the injury. But for a lot of the time, and still, up until recently, just moments where I let that injury own me. It's like you stop. Just because it's like the example, if one tire in your car is flat, like someone slashed a tire, you don't go and slash the other tires. Why would you slash the other 3 tires? But we do that sometimes. Like we have one thing that's an obstacle, one thing that's uncomfortable, and then we kind of neglect other areas then as a result, which is kind of crazy. Okay? So what are you avoiding? Like what are you putting your attention in that's not creating the result you're looking for? Like, where are you putting your attention? Where are you putting your importance? Just reflect on that for a little bit. Okay, just reflect on that. Don't let something outside of you distract you and pull away from what you want to work on. Okay, don't let yourself be pulled away. Don't let something that's, a small thing, whether it's an injury or a story or whatever else, don't allow yourself to just point the finger and blame. You see that you point the finger, there's 3 pointing back, right? It's time to look at yourself. I think that's why a lot of relationships don't work, is people just, oh, it's them, it's them, it's them, it's them. It's their fault. I don't like what they said, what they did, what they do. No, what about what I do? What about what actions do I take? That's how you have to shift your mindset. That's what a leader does. That's what a visionary does. That's what real special people do, is they don't blame all the time. For sure we blame occasionally, but we take responsibility. What can I do better? Oftentimes as well, people get upset with the reaction, but they don't look at what they've done to cause that. Maybe that's in your life right now. You don't like how someone is acting or reacting, but maybe you're provoking and you don't even realize it because you're not even giving it attention, because you're avoiding the most important work, which is the work on you. So from the mindset piece, look at your awareness. It's the foundation of everything. Awareness is the key to everything. Look at your mindset, your beliefs. What are the beliefs you have about situations? Are you making too many conclusions? There's an episode here, questions versus conclusions, on the podcast. Make sure you check it out. That's the first thing, mindset. Second thing, you have to work on skills. If you don't like where you are professionally, you have to work on your skills. Okay, so this episode really covers personally and professionally because it applies to everything in your life. You want to work on your skills. When I do corporate training or business mentorship, I always talk about 2 things to multiply the business or multiply your success. That's mindset and skills. And most people I see, because I work with a lot of people, literally hundreds of thousands of people for the last 15 years, most people don't work on their skills. Some people are in jobs where they have to do continuous professional development. And even then it's boring and they don't like it and they have some crappy trainer they don't care about and they're not interested. When I go into a company, everyone's always like, wow, that's so refreshing. And that's because I'm talking from experience. And I love this stuff and I've been obsessed with it. I've given my whole life, over half my life, to this kind of thing. So people are like, oh my God, it's so refreshing, because they're not used to hearing someone or witnessing something that's exciting and interesting. Because when you really dive into this, it is the reason you listen to this podcast all the time, because it's really interesting. Because this work on yourself is so interesting. I always tell the story when I left school early, because the last 2 years in school, you have to pick your subjects. And because of the guidance counselor I had in school, I ended up doing metalwork and physics, crazy things, right? And I played sport my whole life, and I didn't do biology because they said it was about plants. And I was like, I don't want to study plants. So I was like, I'm not doing biology. And I do metalwork. Like, what the hell? Okay, I couldn't believe it that they had me doing that. So I knew that wasn't for me. I knew that these things don't align with me whatsoever. But that's what happens. People end up studying things or doing things that don't align with their personality. They don't do the things that they're supposed to, that really are alignment with them. That's why I talk so much about alignment on this podcast, is, because most people don't do it. But what I was going to say was, I kind of went off track there for a second, but the skills piece is so important. Most people don't work on their skills because it's like my initial point, which I totally went away from, was I remember in school, I didn't like studying because I didn't like those subjects. I didn't like physics. I didn't like metalwork. But I remember when I went back doing, post leaving cert education, as it's called, went back after I left school, I went back to do courses on health and wellness and nutrition, exercise and health and fitness and all that kind of stuff. I was fascinated. I couldn't stop studying. I remember I was like, oh my God, I learned all the bones of the body. I knew them off by heart. And I used to go around, telling people I can name every bone in your body and all this kind of stuff. Because I remember I was learning it and I was thinking, this is here and this is here. And it was so fascinating. And I remember I was like, oh, studying can be fun, actually, when you find something to study for that's really aligned with you, important for you. So most people don't study skills of communication, mindset, leadership, because no one's ever shown it to them in a way that can really make an impact, that can apply, that can be exciting. So I really want you to think about professionally, what skills are you lacking? Okay, what skills? And if you're ready to, if you enjoy this podcast and you're ready to level up your skills, book a call and speak to me about my business mentorship program, because we talk a lot about skills there. Like, I'm obsessed with skills like communication, influence, leadership. These are game changer, life changing skills. They're the skills that pay the bills. That's what I always say. Okay, so they're the two main things kind of when it comes to the work you have to do on you: your mental health, your emotional health, and then your skills, your abilities. A couple of other things then to kind of finish off this episode to help you on the road to becoming who you want to become is, one, you have to be visionary. If you're going to do this now, if you're at the stage where you're thinking, what's next for me? What do I want? Where am I going? What do I want from my life? It's time to be visionary. Don't be a realist anymore. Don't play small. It takes the same energy to think small as it does to think big. So you might as well think big, because thinking big is a lot more fun. And I want you to really take the ceiling off, take the shackles off, free yourself. It's time to set yourself free. Be a visionary. If you could do anything, what would you do? If you had a magic wand, what would you do? If you had a genie and you could make a wish and you could have anything in the world, what would you want? Allow yourself to be visionary. Second thing, get clear on who you want to be. Alignment is the most important thing. If you focus on alignment, you're going to find yourself. And when you find yourself, nothing or nobody can stop you. The reason you're hitting roadblocks all the time is you're trying to drive in someone else's lane. You're building your house on someone else's land. So I really want you to get clear on who you want to become. The third thing, I want you to get clear on what outcomes what are your values? What are your values? You have to know your values. This applies for your relationship as well. Healthy relationships are two people who have the same values. And then decisions are easy then because their values align. But then what are the outcomes for you? Like, what kind of things do you want? Do you want money? Do you want success? Do you want freedom? Do you want a family? Do you want lifestyle? Do you want nice cars? And what do you want? And if you listen to back to me from the start, first episode, it's all illusion. It's all illusion. Everything you're seeking, the feeling you're actually looking for, you have it already inside of you. But you're not finding it because you're seeking these external things. So there's another episode coming soon called Finding Yourself from Within. Because most people are trying to find themselves outside and it's not working. That's the whole episode of Back to Me. The whole philosophy and concept of Back to Me is finding yourself from within. But I'm going to do an episode on it specifically. So that's today's episode, just to stimulate. So as always, I like to keep it short. I try to pack it as much things as you can. You have to listen back to these episodes a couple of times to really pick up on the things you might have missed. Because you hear something you like, you start thinking about it, and then I've given you one or two more things in the meantime, and you don't even grasp it because you're thinking about the first thing. So be willing now to lean into discomfort, because it's going to be uncomfortable. Be willing to lean into discomfort. If you've been avoiding this work, it's going to be uncomfortable because there's a reason you're avoiding it. So you've created a program now to avoid this work, to avoid working on yourself, to avoid working on your mindset, to avoid working on your attitude, to avoid working on your skills. You have beliefs now that are keeping you small. They're keeping you comfortable. It's actually a perceived level of comfort. It's not real comfort because you're actually uncomfortable. Okay, you want more. You deserve more. You're capable of more. But you're comfortable in your discomfort. That's how I call it. So make a decision today to get into discovery mode, to be curious. Curiosity leads to clarity. Clarity leads to confidence. You heard me say it 1,000 times. Lean into your discomfort. Okay? What unhappy people do, and professionally what amateurs do, is they lean into familiarity. They stay safe. They avoid discomfort. That's what amateurs do. That's what unhappy people do, unfulfilled people do. I don't know who says it. Is it David Goggins or someone else? Or is it Gary Brecka even, maybe, from 10X Health? I think he says, death is the aggressive pursuit of comfort, or aging is the pursuit of comfort. I love that insight, how he shared that, or how he articulates that I think getting old is the aggressive pursuit of comfort. When we choose, if you look at the law of entropy, like things that are left alone move more and more towards decline, to disorder. Okay, things don't require effort to fall to pieces. You don't need to intentionally do anything to smell bad. You just have to sit on the couch. You don't have to do anything to get fat and unhealthy. You just got to sit your ass down all the time, and that's it. You don't have to, put effort into going broke. Like, you just do what you're always doing, and you don't intentionally work on developing your skills, growing your business, whatever. it's all going to go away. Like, you're going to make bad decisions. Anything left unto itself moves towards disorder. Everything, John Maxwell, one of the best guys on leadership, he's written, I don't know, hundreds of books on leadership. He says everything worthwhile is uphill. It is uphill. So be someone today who decides, I'm willing to go uphill. Because sometimes life feels uphill anyway, but it feels more uphill, steeper, and it lasts longer when you're out of alignment, when you're in the wrong lane, when you're building on someone else's land. So today is about bringing into the light that you have to work on you. It's the most important work you can do. It's the hardest thing to do on the road of becoming who you want to be. It's time to commit to you. It's time to work on your mindset, work on your skills, develop yourself, to lean into discomfort, to create a new plan, a new strategy, to be visionary, okay, to get clear on your outcomes. Who do you want to become? What are your values? What do you want to achieve? What does that look like? And don't stop until you get there. That's today's episode. I'll see you in the next one.